Hey there. I was hoping you could help me.
Yeah, what do you want?
Not yet.
Oh,
I need to
oh,
message you guys in World. Hold
Oh,
on.
okay.
okay.
Testing, testing.
All
Can
right.
anybody hear me?
Ready?
I'm ready, but can they hear us? Oh, sorry about that. Someone's decided to be really loud on a motorcycle. Okay, I'm all set. How about now? Can anybody hear us? Okay, good. Hey there. I was hoping you could help me.
Yeah, what do you want?
Well, I bought this last week and it stopped working.
What did you do to it? You did read the instructions, didn't you?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. Did you read the instructions?
You know what? Can I speak to the manager?
Sure, Karen. I'll get them.
So that was rough and pretty much how SG talks to me all the time. Kidding. But seriously, that wasn't a very welcoming situation, right? He seemed really impatient and like he just wanted to get me out of there, which again is pretty much SG all the time with me. But he was really rude and quick to place the blame on me without really even knowing what the actual problem was. So already I've decided that I'm not going to be going back there. This is by no means a comprehensive course. While effective public relations can take years to fully master, this should give you the basics of what is needed to get started building the proper foundation. Some people may not find it easy to deal with others in normal circumstances, and patience may not be something that they actually have. This may not be as useful to those people as it is to others, but even if it helps knock a few of those rough edges off, it could still prove valuable. So you're probably asking, what makes me um, qualified to even help with the course like this? I'm not an expert. Neither SG or I are claiming that we are, but I've worked with the public almost since I started working. Almost straight out of high school, I started working in retail. Worked a couple of different places in retail. As you know, you get to deal with all sorts of different people, from the super, super sweet and nice to ones who just want to be difficult and aren't really listening and are just being rude from the moment they even say hello, if they even say hello. And then after retail, I worked in a billing office. So while I wasn't face to face with people, I was still on the phone with them, talking to customers all the time and pretty much same thing. And, that's a little even more, have to be a lot more careful how you deal with people because in this case, I'm trying to collect money from them. And in some cases, they're not wanting to pay that money that they owe. So you really have to walk that fine line with them. And then here in Otherverse, I've been with the volunteer program for 18 years, started as a volunteer, got hired in 2007. So I've been dealing with the public still, all of you guys, for the last 17 years. So it's pretty much, not PR in the sense that we're like, going out there and, you know, promoting stuff and everything, but we are having to deal with a lot of different personalities. And now SG will tell you about himself.
Yep. So, I mean, I've pretty much been, the same. I've been working with the public for pretty much my entire working life. I started out in a grocery store. So, as the sack boy, or as I liked to call it, chief corrugated packaging engineer. So, worked my way up to manager. So, I was manager for a while until I left there. Um, then I've done various other public jobs. I've done alarm systems. I had my own computer business that I did out of my house. So I had to work directly with customers, clients, things like that. And then just, from experience over the years, I'm one of those guys that sits in the corner and observes people, observes how people interact. And so I kind of see, what makes a person angry, what makes them happy. And so I've taken that over the years and helped work it into what I do. I started Youthiverse about over 18 years ago now. And so I've been a volunteer staff most of that time. So during that time, I've also been working with members here, helping them with various problems, situations, some good and some not so good. You have the cooperative ones, you have the not cooperative ones. Um, just various different situations throughout course of my career that has helped me to learn how to deal with people more and more. So plus, I've always been more of a people person anyway. So I like dealing with people, even when other people don't. I do. So I like trying to help people the best I can, and any way I can do that with the least amount of confrontation, I take it. So that's pretty much me.
And he deals with me all the time. So
Oh yeah, and then
if that's not
Vixen.
experience, I don't know what is.
I mean, we both have to deal with Vixen. I mean, and she's the worst of them all. She's the worst of everyone on this site. I mean, if you have any complaints, comments, just send them all her way. And but
We love
okay.
her really. So effective public relations relies heavily on speech and patience. A simple phrase can make a world of difference if it's delivered poorly. It can change the entire atmosphere of the situation in an instant, just as our little above scenario did. The tone of your voice can also change the perceived meaning of the message. Text is even harder as there are no inflections to indicate intent. The good thing with text is that we have the one advantage that before we hit that enter key, we can actually go back and delete something that we can't do verbally. When we're speaking, I mean, once it's out there and you can't take it back. Even if you say you're sorry or I was joking, there's no taking it back. And sarcasm notably doesn't work well in text for this very reason.
And I lost my mic just a sec. So before I continue, can everyone hear me?
See, this is what we have to deal with all the time with him.
Okay, well, I guess you can. So, okay. Keep in mind that every public aspect of a business is influenced by reviews. It may not be a Yelp review, there may not be there to rate you on Google, but in some aspect, everyone is being reviewed. It may be in the form of a star rating on a website, a blog post, a social media post, or simply a conversation with friends. At some point, if you are in a public facing position, you will be subject to a review. Don't use Acme Plumbing. The receptionist was a real jerk. That right there will spread. The next person will relay to others. Bob told me that Acme Plumbing had a rude receptionist. Might want to look around for someone else. Even if they don't spread the word, that review still affects them. For instance, there's a chain of convenience stores that I often get pizzas from after getting my groceries. They have multiple locations in my area, so I order from the one that's closest to where I will be when I'm about to head home. This one location I'd gone to multiple times with no issues. On this day, however, I ran into some issues. There's a specific pizza that's configured one way on the app, but on their recipe cards is configured differently. I ran into this issue multiple times at multiple locations. Each time, when I'd present it to them, explain what happened, they'd correct it on their end, and the next time, I don't have to worry about it. Sometimes they'd tell me, hey, you know, when you place your order, put it in the comments thing, and we'll go ahead and get that fixed. I've left instructions just as they said, and this time, as I got the pizza, it was wrong. No worries, it happens. So I went in to try to get it fixed. They did fix the pizza. It took 10 minutes of me explaining to them just to achieve this. The entire time, both the kitchen worker and the manager continued stating it was my fault. Um, Despite my descriptive explanations of the issue, even when pointing out that I left instructions in the comments, despite admitting they never read those, they still claimed it was my fault. The pizza was eventually fixed, but I've not set foot in that location since, even when it's the closest on my route.
So, how could that have been prevented? Because now they've lost a real good customer based on how they treated him. So, regardless of who's at fault, never resort to placing blame. While at some point you will need to point out to them that it is their fault, just try not to do that from the start. Never be reactive and don't take things personally, even when they are. Most of the time, it's not even you that they're mad at. Sometimes it's just the situation or the company itself. Even when it's clearly and utterly on them, start by reassuring them that you're there to help. Then go through any steps needed to determine the issue. This may involve contacting other departments, companies, or whatever the case may be. Make sure to do this in a manner where they actually can see that you're looking into the issue and not that you're just hearing them talk and kind of ignoring them. If the issue's on your side or something not caused by them, assure them that they're not at fault. If you find that this is, but for whatever reason is unable to fix the problem, just be honest with them. Let them know calmly and gently why. If you find that it is their fault, you want to inform them of this without just placing blame. For instance, if it's an electronics issue, try walking them through how they did things until you get to the point where their mistake was made. Then you can inform them of the proper way of doing it for the future, and if there are any other options for resolution. Guide them to what they did wrong instead of just blaming them for it. People tend to respond a little bit more favorably when a mistake is calmly brought to their attention instead of just simply being told they screwed up. Humans don't like being wrong, but we like it even less when we're made to feel bad about it. So, what if they themselves are rude or impatient with you? Don't pour fuel on the flame. You don't know why they're upset. It could be the situation or it could be something else in their personal life. What is important is that you remain calm, even though that's hard, we know. But again, just Sometimes take a breath, breathe out, and calm down. Follow whatever protocols in place for these situations, but do so calmly and politely, as politely as you possibly can. Sometimes that can cool things down, and even if it doesn't, you can feel proud that you at least had the strength to endure. You can pat yourselves on the back for that. So at some point, they may even remember this and treat you a bit more kindly in the future. Can always hope, right? I mean, we've had that happen even here in RLC. We're dealing with someone who's aggravated for whatever reason, even if it's not our doing, they know it's not our doing, but they're still lashing out. We've been really nice and calm, and then you're like, you know what? I'm sorry. I know it's not even your fault. I shouldn't even be taking this out on you. So, it turns out good. They sometimes will realize it themselves.
Yep. I've had people that I've had to boot several times over the years. And because I at least treated them with respect when I did it, they came to see, okay, maybe I should listen, maybe I should calm down, maybe I should take into consideration what you told me. So, there are three main aspects everyone should remember when dealing with the public: patience, tone, and wording. Patience is the most vital aspect when dealing not just with the public, but with people overall. Even the tamest of situations may require a bit of patience. The person may be great, but the situation may be less than ideal. The product didn't arrive on time, it was broken, the network's acting up, or various other things could turn a relatively calm situation into a stressful one. The key is to not reflect that stress onto the other person. Remember that regardless of the situation, that person is the reason you were there. Paid or volunteer, there would be no need for you to be there if not for them. Well, this doesn't mean that everyone gets a behavioral free pass. It does mean that as much as possible, patience should always apply. You can provide all of the right answers, fix their issue, and make everything right. If you were rude or short with them, that's all they'll remember. While tone in text is a bit different than in person, you can still convey tone in many cases in text. A simple why can have many meanings in voice. In text, the same can apply depending on the sentence context. And text in a chat room can have even more different meanings than text in a text message or an email. And apparently, now a trailing period is frowned upon in some circumstances. We could have a whole presentation on just this topic alone, which I would not be the best person for because you will have to pry the period from my cold, dead hands. The point is, depending on the medium you're using, smallest things can have drastic effects on the tone. Proper wording is another crucial aspect of effectively dealing with others. Saying things one way can make a person sad, another mad, and another happy. In many ways, it does tie in well with tone. The key is saying things in the least negative and most respectful way possible. Always try to avoid reactionary replies, as even the tamest can sometimes have an air of negativity or blame. Managing negativity can have a strong effect on how the person feels. Sometimes you may need to deliver bad news, so you want to make it as easy to accept as possible. As Mary Poppins said, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Deliver the news, but try to lighten the blow as much as you can. Here's a couple examples. No, we don't have any. Short, sweet, and almost rude. Even if it wasn't intended that way, it sounds like the person is just trying to rush you off. Not only that, but the very first thing you see or hear is something negative. No, we don't have any. You don't even have to hear the rest of this, and that's because you're already in a more negative mindset than you were before that. You may not be entirely interested in pursuing things further. The follow up needs to be great if they plan to keep you happy. Now, here's another phrasing. It appears we're currently out of that. Well, that sucks. They don't have your product, but You don't feel as bad. You know it's bad news, but it doesn't entirely feel that way. At this point, you're usually more willing to work with them to find some solution to this problem. Now, here are some examples that combine all three aspects. Say you violated a rule of the site. It's not one that's guaranteed a boot, but there's some action required on your part. Let's see which one would make you more cooperative.
Hi, I'm Laura Violet, and we need to talk about your outfit. You're not allowed to be nude as a basic member, so you need to change.
Okay. Or, hi, I'm a sweet guy, and I need to talk to you concerning the outfit you're wearing. Were you aware that nudity as a basic member is not allowed? I'm going to need to ask that you change your outfit into something that covers your vital parts.
So, same messages, very different feels to them, right? One seems short, impatient, and a tad rude. The other seems more calm, collective, and caring, even trying to educate you in what in that you're doing something wrong. The same issue needs to be addressed, but our feelings towards cooperating with them differ. You're more likely to be a bit defensive with the first one. The second one may cause a little irritation, but you'll feel more inclined to comply. So now let's go back to the original situation that started this all. Let's see what that worker learned from these simple tips. Hello, I was hoping you could help me.
Sure, how can I help?
Well, I bought this last week and it just stopped working.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's see what we can figure out. What exactly is the issue?
When I try turning it on, it doesn't even make a sound anymore. It just sits there.
Let me look.
Sounds like
It
me with
looks like
my
this.
computer issues.
It looks like this wire right here shifted loose. That happens sometimes in transport.
It works. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Let us know if you need anything else.
So right there, 5 stars. I'm definitely going to be going back to him. And that's pretty much SG with me all the time. He's so incredibly patient when I'm having issues, which is why I keep bugging him every time I do. So we hope this has helped you deal with others a little bit more easily. And thank you for listening to us ramble a little bit. And now we'll open things up in case you have any questions for us.
Anyone have any questions?
And we deal with that a lot.
Yeah, you basically just have to kind of go through the explanations in your head. Try to determine which one you think is going to sound the best.
Yeah.
Because basically, you're not always going to have a proper answer for them. So you try to take the least negative, least confrontational approach. And whatever your answer actually is, you want to at least make them feel that you've tried your best to help them and you're not just
And
brushing
sometimes
them
you can
off.
see those people coming pretty much the way they approach you. You can already tell that it doesn't matter what you say, it's not going to be the right thing. And sometimes we'll have to kind of get like, a partner and say, well, if you want to talk to this person or if you want to talk to World Ops instead, here's their email or, SG's on, would you like to talk to him? And sometimes they do anyway, even if we don't ask them to. They'll they'll just go to them because they weren't satisfied with what we've said, and you
Hmm.
know they'll end up saying the same exact thing to them. And
Yeah, sometimes if you have someone else that you do work with that can sometimes just their different approach. Like each of us staff mods, we all have a different approach to things. So I mean, sometimes they just may not listen to me. So I'd say, okay, you know what? Laura's over here, or contact Vixen the next time she's online, or something like
Mhm.
that. And that way, maybe one of those others can kind of convey things a little easier to them. But
Mhm.
basically, if you don't, and it's just you just try to take the least confrontational, the least negative approach, and you try to at least make them feel like you made an effort, made a good effort to try to help them, and you weren't able to for some reason. And again, it's not going to work 100% of the time, but
There's only
if you
so
can
much we can do.
yeah, if you can at least make them see that you tried, you've done your part. And that's really
Yep.
all you can do.
And that's an excellent question, Zombie. The first and foremost, take screenshots. That way, when you go to another staff member or even World Ops directly, you will have documented proof of what that rude or volunteer or staff said to you. Because just coming to us and saying, "Sweet guy was really mean to me. Um, he was just a jerk." Okay, well, what did he say? Well, you can tell me what he said, but I need to be able to see, or World Ops is going to need to see what was said so that we know that, you don't just have it out for Sweet guy and are trying to get him in trouble. They need to see actual proof that something happened, because then we can go, or they can, talk to the person necessary. But that's the most important thing. Take screenshots. Yeah.
Yep.
And take screenshots of the full conversation so that you could see that the whatever attitude they're giving you is not warranted at all. Although they never should be speaking to you with attitude, but just so that they can see,
Yeah.
we can see, or even World Ops can see from the very beginning how it
And
all went.
and sometimes we all have our bad days. So, you could have hit them on that bad day, and bringing it to their attention might cause them to be a little more cautious in the future.
Mhm.
So, um, but yeah, so yeah, like she said, just screenshots is the best thing. And
We'll have a talk with them, Zombie. And again, it depends. Like if it's a volunteer that we help World Ops manage, sometimes, one of us staff mods will talk to them, with World Ops knowledge, of course. And or if it's actual staff like, Orange Writing, World Ops will have a word, just kind of pointing out what was said and why it shouldn't have been said in the way that it was said and things like that. And hopefully, no, we're not immune to restrictions at all. Believe me. Um, when it's been necessary, World Ops, yeah, exactly.
yeah, no, even if in the situation, you know, like we said in our presentation, if the other person is being rude or reactive to you, you don't do the same to them. You still try to keep that calm, because if you start lashing back at them, even if they're in the wrong, then you're only going to make things worse. So you try to keep your calm face, and that way too, that shows this other person was the one that was in the wrong here. I was being polite, respectful. Here's the screenshots.
And we got it. And if it's not something like Ken is saying, if it wasn't something super severe, we are going to give people a chance to modify their behavior, pointing out again why what they said was not the way to say it. And or maybe, okay, so you have this opinion, but don't share that opinion in your volunteer or staff account. That's what you have a private account for. We give them a chance. They give us a chance to modify that behavior. Then if it's not modified, then it's like, okay, more action, more steps need to be taken to fix that. But always screenshots. Most important thing, because everything we do is over text. Take those screenshots. I don't think I've ever seen SG as Batman.
Nope. Never have.
He doesn't take off the Superman outfit long enough. Any other questions?
Anyone else?
Going once. Going twice.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. C.
No,
No,
right.
we're waiting for the question to come up so we can answer it. Sorry.
Well, that's a different
Yes.
topic, but I mean, they're still working on both. So
Yep.
there will be a presentation later today talking more about the beta development. But that's again, that's a different topic altogether. So
Yeah.
z-
Any other
it,
questions on the stuff that we brought up here today?
going once.
Going twice.
Sold to the lady in the second row. She's
We've
an 8.
just sold
She's a
Vixen.
9. She's a 10. Oh.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out to listen to us
Thank you all,
and
and
for
I
your
hope
very good
this
questions.
helped you. Take it and use it.
Mhm.
And I hope you have a great rest of the convention.
Yes, go enjoy those multiple events that are going to be happening the next few days. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.